We're going to move on with the tags in equipment. So the only thing we need to add is what is called in Plan3D an annotation. So there's different types of annotation in Plan3D. You already have a bunch of annotations by default that you can use to show the tag number of your element. For example, this is TK010. So to show the tag, we're going to use an annotation. I want you to remember that because tag is different than annotation, and we are going to see that after. It's not the same thing. Tag is the number associated to the element that we're going to give. An annotation is just how we decide to show this tag. It could be in different font with colors. It could be highlighted. It could be in bold. It can be any different type of annotation. So that's quite different. Tag is the information that we enter to the database, and annotation is the way how we decide to show that information. To add an annotation, you have to right-click in the element and select Annotate. I'm going to select Equipment tag, and I'm going to place it here. Perfect. And I'm going to do the same for all the equipment. For the heat exchanger, the same thing. The pumps. And the pumps. Remember to always use the Autocad right-click to access to the options. I wanted to show you something also very important. When you design P&Id drawings and you use these lines, actually the right term for this is an S-line. It's like a polyline, right? But once they are connected to your equipment, you can pretty much have the flexibility to modify this, and it's going to keep, I would say, the relationship. If I move this line, I'm just going to select this line, and say, for example, I want to move this line, say, for example, a little bit higher because, I don't know, I want to have another equipment there. Then, as you can see, it's going to create a polyline to keep the relationship, to keep the link, I would say, between them. So that applies as well for equipment. For example, if I want to have this pump a little bit to the right, then if I connected my equipment properly, the lines are going to shift a little bit for me. As you can see, the lines, they stretch out a little bit, so they keep the connection. Now the following step is going to be to assign the line tags. As you know, the lines, they have different ways how they can be tagged. We're going to use the one that comes by default in Plan3D. So I want you to locate your cursor in the line and right-click, and you're going to choose Assign Tag. This is also customizable. The size, the spec. Now this is the pipeline group and the pipeline group line number. This is the service and this is the line number. This you can reorganize, you can add your own fields. This is a whole different topic. This is for project administrators. Basically, when you start your project, you are supposed to have all this information already set by your project administrator. So don't worry too much about this part because that's going to change depending on your client's needs. Some of them, they're going to prefer to have also, I don't know, maybe some tracing, some insulation because the line is going to be insulated. So all that is going to be changed by your project administrator. For now, we're just going to insert the basic information. So sizes, as you can see, you already have all the sizes ready to be selected. So we're going to go with 6 inches here, the spec CS150, carbon steel, pipeline group, service. We said it's going to be cooling water supply. Let's look for CWS, cooling water supply, perfect. And the line number, again, because I already have created 001, I'm going to go with this 020. I think should be safe with that. So I'm going to hit assign. And to add an annotation is going to be the same thing. Right click, annotate, pipeline tag. So we're going to do the very same thing with all the lines. Assign tag, 6 inches, spec 150. This is going to be, as you can see, this line already has 020, right? Because there is one concept, there is one important concept when you start designing P&IDs and intelligent P&IDs, is when you have a line group, basically is the understanding of plan tree to say, hey, all these lines are going to be grouped in one number. They can change diameters, they can change its mechanical properties, but they are going to be grouped with this line number. So in this case, because we start drawing from this section, then plan tree is understanding that the whole thing is one line. And even you can see it as all highlighted. So for plan 3D, the whole line is one thing. I'm going to show you how to separate that later. But just to you to understand, if I click on this one, even though if they seem different, they're going to behave as the same group. For example, if I right click here and I try to give the number 21, let's see what happens. I'm going to go with 6, I'm going to go with 150, and 021, say for example. You see how this one is going to change as well. But I don't want that. I want this line to be separate because they go to different pumps. So let's do Control Z and we're going to go back. We're going to go back later. Let's keep continuing with these lines. This one is going to be same way. Assign tag. We're going to do a 4 inches for the discharge. We're going to keep the same spec for now. CWS, cooling water system, cooling water supply. Great. And this one is going to be 021, say for example. I'm going to put a 022. Good. Again, we're going to add an annotation, annotate, and then pipeline tag. Usually when you select your tag, for example, because I selected the vertical line, then the annotation is going to be vertical. But you're free to also select the horizontal as well. It's going to give you the same tag because the line is the same. Again, this is AutoCAD elements, so you can always rotate them if you want. For example, you can go with rotate. You can type RO to rotate, and you can rotate them if you want. To be closer. Perfect. Okay. So we're assigning tags to our lines. The next one is going to be this one. This one we're going to do a 6 inches as well. I'm going to select 6 inches. We're going to select this time 300, CS 300. And we're going to give 0, this one is actually process fluid, we said, right? So we're going to go with process for this one, general process. So the good part about selecting all these options is after you enter all this information in the database, you're going to be able to sort your lines by diameter, by specification, by service. And this one, let's give it 25. Assign. We're going to do right click and we're going to click annotate, and it's the very same thing. Okay, perfect. In a few clicks, as you can see, we are already pretty much very advanced with our P&Id. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to select 4 inches because it says discharge. Same spec, pipeline, service. We're going to go still with process, general process, and the line number is going to be 026. Sign, same thing. Take pipeline. Very good. Okay, let's keep going with now we finish the process fluid. This is the discharge. Now we're going to take care of the discharges right now. The process fluid discharge is going to be assign tag. We're going to still do 4 inches here, spec 300, process. You can also hit P here, and when you display, it's going to show you the selected. So it's a way to go faster if you want. You can type your service and it's going to pop up right away. 026, assign. See, for example, no two schematic line groups can have the same tag. Please make sure the tag is unique. This is what I was mentioning. You already have one item called P026. So I'm going to give another number and say OK, 027, assign. Yeah, this one was 026. So this is actually also an asset because you don't want to be repeating your same items. So it's a way to prevent errors. The database is telling you, hey, most likely you meant to say something else because it's a different line. We're going to put pipeline tag, perfect. And this one is going to be the same. For the water, we're going to stick to 4 inches. Spec 150, we say, for the water. Pipeline group service. This one is going to be cooling water. We say cooling water supply, cooling water and return. So cooling water and return. Okay, and let's put 028. And we're going to put pipeline tag. Perfect. All right. Okay. So the only thing we're missing is, in this case, we have two merge lines that we want to separate. And in this case, for example, even though this line is connecting to this one, it's not highlighting the whole supply. So that's telling me that I'm not going to have the same problem with this. And this is because when we go and we connect this is, I would say, this is an injection. So Plan2D is understanding that this is a separate line because we are merging this line into this line, into the 22. That's why Plan2D is not grouping the two lines versus this case, right? In this case, we decide to come from this line and to connect this pump. So that's actually a very relevant difference when you're connecting lines. So in this case, I'm not going to have that problem because as you can see, they're not connected. Then afterwards, we're going to see how we can connect those lines. But I'm going to assign a tag here. So I'm going to put assign tag. I'm going to go 4 inches as well, 150. Cooling water supply, there. And this one thing is the 028. Let's see. Nope, I have already 28, so I'm going to go with the next one, 029. So I'm going to add an annotation here. Perfect. And now I'm going to show you how to work with groups. So let's see how we can remove this. I want this to be the line number 030. So when you come to this menu, it's actually this one, line group. You're going to see one option called edit group. So edit group is the option that is going to allow you to add or remove lines from your group line. So in this case, we want to remove, right? Because we don't want this line to be attached to 020. So we're going to first we're going to click onto the line 020, and we're going to click on edit group. See in the bottom part, you have 2 or 4 or 5 actually options, which they're also here. So you're going to hit remove because that's what we want. We want the line going to the pump 012 to be removed from the group 020. So you're going to hit remove, and then you're going to hit the line that you want to remove. So make sure here is selected object one found, perfect. You're going to right click, and you see how right away the line on the bottom was removed from the group. So hit escape, and if you click onto the lower line, you're going to see that the whole line is not highlighted anymore. So the line 20 is now just this line, right? The one that connects the tank to the pump. Now I am free to give whatever name I want. So I'm going to hit assign tag. Then the size is going to be 6, spec 150. This is always cooling water supply. And this one is, we said 30, right? 030 assign. Perfect. See, this name is still the same name. Annotate pipeline tank tag as always. Boom. Perfect. So we finally added the most important information for the P&Id. We're going to see next how we can use the data manager to find elements. But before that, we're going to also insert the valves.